on. Go on, go on, go on. Go on, go on, go on. Now, welcome back. Today we're going to do something a little different. Well, we're going to do a little different for the second time because I recorded this video for the last 2 days and I done a really super detailed video until my computer decided not to store it properly, thinking that it had. I wiped my SD card, put it back into my camera and boom, it's all gone. Yeah. So we're going to do it again. That's all you can do. You have to bite your lip, say a few colourful words, pick yourself back up again and just do it again. So that's it. That's exactly what we're going to do now. So it's morning time. It's just gone 10 to 8 now this morning and I wanted to wait till I was done milking before I actually showed you the calves being fed because it's too loud in here and you wouldn't be fit to hear me. What you see there is I was taking it from the last few cows that calved and we have a few buckets of milk here still. I'm after feeding a couple of other calves down the other shed, but we have a few buckets here now. And I'm going to show you the way we heat the milk for starters because that's gone cold now. So the worst thing you give calves is cold milk. Calves want some nice warm milk, so not too hot, just nice and warm. So that's the way we're going to do it. But that brings me to my first point of the biggest mistake I ever made when I was raising calves. I picked this up at another farm. It was one of the bad habits that I got. And that bad habit was the way I warmed the milk. I used to actually put the milk into the small buckets, ready to feed the calves, or into a big bucket, and then come along with the really nice hot water and just add some hot water to it to bring the temperature of the milk up. I thought that was alright. I seen other lads doing it, didn't think there was any problem with that at all. But I noticed for the 4 years that I did that our calves wasn't near as good. Calves didn't thrive as well, not near as well. And I put that down to adding water into the milk, so I quit doing that. My father used to give out to me for doing it as well. Yeah, he said quit putting water into milk, give them pure milk and nothing else. And he was dead right. So that was a little mistake that I made years ago. I learned from it and I never done it again. Now I heat the milk and I don't have any of them fancy milk heaters or nothing like that. I heat it the old fashioned way and it takes very little time, matter of minutes to heat it. So here's what I do. First thing I do is I have 2 steel buckets. And we put our metal buckets into our plastic buckets. I like these bigger metal buckets because you just have a nice bit of space around to fill with water. And then we just fill around the sides of it. Same on this side. There we go. That may seem so obvious to a lot of people, and I know that's the way a lot of people are doing it. In a matter of a minute or two, that can be piping hot. So that's the way to do it. It all depends again on how hot your water is coming from your water tank. But that there is the way to do it, and that will make a big difference to your calves. I don't feed a huge amount of milk replacer. I like to feed as much solid milk as possible. Also, the price of milk replacer is quite high this year. And we have cows there that have a little bit of residue from maybe dry cows and things in them, so I don't mind picking a few cows out for a while and just putting them a little bit longer and milk. I always find they do much better on it. Now we'll be changing over to milk replacer eventually. So that's that. That's the way I'm heating that now. Now we go in and we'll feed them. Now this one here was only born here 2 nights ago. Good strong Aberdeen Angus bull calf, but it's on the bottle yet. I feed them for about 2 times, 3 times in the bottle. I just never got time to actually take them off the bottle and put them onto the bucket. So you have to train them onto the bucket, and that's what I'm going to do now. But before I start, just letting you know, these Aberdeen Anguses, they're a hungry calf. They like to drink, put it that way. And when you go in to start trying to get them used to a bucket, you have to be careful because it can put the bucket on top of your head and milk and all. Now that's never happened to me. Never. Never. Fingers, both sides of the mouth, get him to suck. Leave a hole between the 2 fingers. To try then to work your best to get him in his head into the bucket. That's the first thing. Getting his head down into the bucket because he naturally wants to lift his head up. Now we're going. Once you get it started, you're flying. Bit by bit, then you work your hand out, and he get more and more used to drinking on his own. So I'm working my fingers out now to the very end. and the more I do that, the more he's drinking and known to himself, if that makes sense. That's that lad fed. Takes a wee while to get the youngsters onto it because they're very lively. But that's that one fed. Another feed like that and that'll be it on the bucket, and that makes life so much easier when you just drop a bucket in front of them and away you go. But the next calves we're going to feed is the ones up here. Over here. You get. But that's as simple as that there now. With these things, you have to be careful with them too. You want to make sure you always keep them clean because they're a dread for building up bacteria. So when I'm done, I just throw a splash of hot water into it. Just turn it upside down, that's it. Wash it in a matter of minutes. And it's clean for the next feed. Some people wait till midday and throw water into it, the cows will suck it out. That's up to you, whatever you want to do. But I just tend to wash it out as soon as they're done feeding and it's ready for the next time. Now, calf jackets. Probably the most talked about thing on social media is calf jackets. And I'm not going to tell you which is better and which isn't. I'm going to let you make your own mind up. But I have a few here that I've put on the calves purposely, from the ones I got at the beginning to the ones I'm currently using. Well, I'm using them all. Calf jackets will always get used. But we have this jacket here, this little lassie here that's sucking away here like mad. And that there is probably a jacket that cost about 35 quid. It would be a basic budget jacket. A lot of co-ops would have it. Look, comment down below if you know the brand that is, because I can't see it on it. It's probably air off it. The only problem I have with these is these straps. I tie them up into knots like you see in that front one, but they keep unraveling them. They seem to love the stuff that's in them and they suck them, and the straps don't last a whole long time. Now you could tape them up maybe and use cable ties. I might actually do that with this one. But that's the one little downturn I had towards them. But they're a good enough jacket. Look at for 30-35 quid. Your co-ops will probably stack these because they're quite common. They're not bad, they're grand. But that's your start off jacket. The next jacket up would be these here. And I think the label is in the inside and I cannot see it anywhere on that jacket. So I'll look on the ones that are inside and I'll show you the labels if you want to see them at the end of today's video. That jacket there, that's a good jacket. I like that jacket. I like that it has a buckle on the front, just like a belt to be on your trousers. Nice, sturdy and strong. Now the straps again, they're light. They're the light straps. But they have a collar that goes underneath. This little guy, it stands still for a minute. If you can see it there. So it's sort of like an oversleeve that protects the calf's belly so the strap's not cutting in. And you should always adjust the jackets on your calves. You always have to check to make sure, because calves grow fairly quickly. So don't put them on tight. Try not to put them on tight. Just enough to keep them on the calf. Don't know how much I paid for them. I have them quite a while. Bought these ones first about 5 years ago. And then I bought these ones about 4 years ago. And I only bought a small amount of each. But these jackets are just more supreme. Then we move up to this guy here, who's a character, put it that way. And this is the JFC jacket. Now JFC sent these jackets out to us last year. I think it was last year, to try out. We got a few of them. The only thing is we got them mostly in a big size, so they suit our bigger calves. That's why we have these on the smaller calves. This is an older calf altogether. One thing the JFC has that none of them have is the actual way the buckles is done. If you get a look here now in the buckles of the JFC, they're really strong. Look at the thickness of the straps as well, especially on the front. Out of the three, they have the best buckle, there's no doubt about it. But other little touches as well I like is this little leather piece that fits above the neck as well and stops the calf's neck from getting rubbed or worn down by the jacket itself, which is not on this one here, rubbing in. But I've never seen an issue with that. Even with these, I've never seen a calf's neck ever get worn or anything like that from the jacket rubbing the back of his neck. So whether it's needed or not, I don't know, but it's there. That's the three jackets that I have. I've never used any others. I know there's a mountain of jackets out there. They're getting really popular now because farmers are seeing the benefit of them. So all I'm going to say and finish up with on jackets is it doesn't matter which one you buy. If you want the real Supreme stuff, the real Supreme stuff's there. Really good jacket as well that I showed you. Budget jacket. It's up to you whatever you decide to go for. But I will say one thing, whether it's the budget jacket or the high-end jacket, it makes no difference, because any jacket makes a huge difference to calves. My father would be one of these people that wouldn't want to spend a penny on stuff like that. Just do everything the old-fashioned way. And it wouldn't be too often he'd look at something and say, geez, that's a handy yoke now, that's a good job there. No. But when he seen these calves, and especially seen the jackets coming off the calves, straight away he said, they're the best thing you ever put around the farm. He said, look at the shine and look at the build of your calves, he said. It's just brilliant. And I have seen that in the past 4 years, we have had absolutely brilliant results. And I put it solely down to the jackets. And that's it. I'm telling you this as honestly as I can. Any jacket makes a huge difference. The first year we used a few of these here. Unfortunately, I bought them all in a smaller size. Then I started to learn and keep the jackets on longer and went for bigger sizes. And yeah, the difference, I think I showed it in videos before of taking the jackets off and showing you how good the calves was. If you look back in the video, I think it was with Bo and her group when we took the jackets off, and it spoke for itself. So yeah, they are an expensive investment. I wouldn't go out and buy a slap of jackets all in the first year. Buy a couple here and there, whatever you can afford, and try them out for yourself. Anything that regulates a calf's body temperature and keeps it more or less the same, keeps away drafts and all that kind of stuff, that's a win-win. So the next thing, which is even more basic, is the bed that you put your calves on. Some people use different things, use sawdust and bark and different things, and all works fine. As long as it's dry and clean, that's all that matters. I bed my calves twice a day, small sprinkle of straw each time, and then every so often we'll clean the pens out and we'll start all over again. But calves don't spend long in here, and this is only kind of the first few days of the life in here, and then they get moved into bigger houses. These calves here are actually going to be going for sale, so they'll never be moved into a bigger shed after they come over 10 days of age, which these 4 are. The first thing we didn't get is not a lot of heifer calves. We have a very bad supply of heifer calves a year. Out of 31 or 2 calves now, now we have to take 10 of that out of it for Aberdeen Anguses and our heifers. But even the Aberdeen Angus born were all bulls, apart from one, and we only have 4 heifers. That's it. That's all we have the year. But I'm not worried about it. Our herd is young, so we're not looking for mad heifer replacements. And we've a lot of cows calve yet. So I'm hoping that we'll have more heifers. We don't use sex semen. We used it years ago, and it was varied. It wasn't always 100% successful. Nothing ever is. And look at the draw we went for a bit the last 5-6 years, and we've been very, very lucky, because if you remember watching our videos last year, we had a hell of a supply. I don't think we had a single bull calf till we had about 15 cows calved. It was all heifers. Pretty much wasn't far of that for the previous 4 or 5 years, so we just let it be. This year, the look of the draw has changed. That's farming. Next year, we might use sex semen again on a few cows and see how it goes. I'd say we'll have a few heifer calves yet. They'll be a little bit later, hard to beat the January calf. What you do, that's part of the job. It's about a week later, and these 4 eaches are doing very well. Apart from this one, well, he's doing well. But the dirty jacket, because this guy here doesn't seem to want to lay up and would rather lay over there on the bit of straw that we have kind of blocking the draft that was coming in under the door. So I'm going to take that straw away, and I'm going to put a piece of timber under there to block the draft, to encourage him to lay up on the nice bed that he has and not down on the wet ground. But anyway, the job we have done here now is we're going to dehorn these. We're going to debud them. And no, that doesn't mean we're unfriending them on Facebook or Instagram. But the one that takes the little horns off on top of their heads are here. If you take it out now, it means that a horn won't grow, because basically you're removing the root. Because horns are dangerous in cattle. I never like to see them on any cattle, because cattle would hurt each other and hurt you very easily with horns on them. So there's a few different techniques people have of doing this. You can use a caustic, well, there's different kinds of gels you can put on, and it would burn down in. That's fine. I've never did it that way. I've always used an electric. Basically it's like a hot iron, and you burn it out. That might sound like it's sore and all this kind of crap. Well, that's where we use a numbing agent. But all I do is I get a little 2.5mm syringe, and just above the calf's eye there's a little bit of a groove, just between the eye and the ear. And if you feel your own head here, feel a little kind of a hollow, right between them 2 little bones there on that hollow, you put in your syringe, a very small syringe, and you put 2.5mm of this numbing agent in on both sides, and then you leave the calf for about 15-20 minutes. You kind of know it's starting to work when you see the calf's ears sometimes starting to drop. It's a good indication that it's working. And then you can come along and you can put them into the little dehorning crush that I have here. I'm going to be setting up now in a few minutes, and remove them without any pain whatsoever. It looks worse than it is. That's why a lot of YouTubers don't even show it, but people might get the wrong impression. But I'm going to show it because it is natural. It's something you should do, and it benefits the animal greatly in later life. So I'm going to show you the process of doing it. So the first thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring it in. They're only have to be injected. They need about 10 minutes or so, and a few little jobs I'm going to do next door. But when I want that done, we're going to pull in the crushers only sitting out here. I'm going to set up our dehorner, and we'll get these buds removed. On my overalls, because this can be a stinky old job. When you go down to the house, especially around dinner time, you don't be received too well when you stink of that burnt hair smell. Silver spray, it's just an aluminium spray. I use that when the animal is debudded, so it seals the wound and it helps it to heal an awful lot better. It just keeps air and things out of it, and great stuff. Cheap as chips, you should always have that. Next thing I have is a pair of, very rusty. Yeah, I have to put a bit of WD-40 and clean them up, but I don't know what they'll cut, like they're as old as the hills. But a pair of something to cut a little bit of the hair if you need to cut it off. Next thing to use is a wire brush. Always have a wire brush with you. Helps to clean the tip of this here. It keeps it nice and clean in case a bud sticks into it or oil hair and stuff builds up around it. We have a different device here. First time I've ever used one of these. I've just opened my ordinary local co-op, and I have an electric one. I have it for the past 15 years. I let it fall last year and I broke the wooden handle that was on it as well and was taping it together. It was just an absolute mess. So I said I'd just go up and buy a new one. But I was originally looking at an electric one, and then I seen these gas ones that people do talk about. And I know I just said to myself, I wonder, is it any good? I've heard they're fairly decent, and it means I don't have to wire up any extension leads or anything, so very handy having it just a one piece in your hand. So that's the one I got. I know very little about what brand or whatever it is. I just picked whatever first one was I seen, and that's as simple as that. It came with one cartridge gas. I did actually read the instructions this time, but I do like that it has a metal case, and it has this little slot that you sign it up to when it's heating. You turn on your gas, this here, and away it goes. You hear it going there now, and all you have is a flame under here heating this tip head, and it takes about 3 minutes to heat. So while that 3 minutes is ticking by, I'm going to put in a little crush in here now and get it all set up and get ready to do them. The little bud is there. If you can get a look at it, there it is. So I'm going to cut some hair off now and get it ready to dehorn. There we are. You can see the calf doesn't feel it. There's no roaring or anything going on. The calf's not feeling that. Now you see the two horns fully removed. Let's spray in some aluminium. Job done. That's it done. Just turn off our dehorner now. Alright. Wanna go out there or do you want to stay around? Clean. That's it. Pop that back in there. Just let it cool down. That'll take a wee while to cool down now, about 20 minutes or so. So leave it plenty of time to cool down. That's them done. Now their eyes will be a bit half closed. That's purely down to the numbing agent. But after about an hour or two, they'll never know they were done. I'm going to clean all this up here because that calf there, covered in muck from laying down on this here. So I'm going to clean that away altogether. I'm going to put a bit of timber in there now after a while to do away with that draft and not have to do that, because it's just encouraging this one here to keep myself rather dirty when it should be laying up in the lovely clean bedding that's there for it. That'll keep the draft out. Need to leave that little hole, that's where all the urine and stuff to all be swept out. But that there will keep the draft away from them. And just before I do go, those of you might like to see what came out of the calf's head. There it is, as small as it is. Just a little kind of a squishy ball. And that little thing there being took out will save a world of torture later on in life. No horns will grow in them cattle now, and they'll be much better for it. Now, it's actually a good few days later. Just wanted to come back before I ended on today's video, and you can see, nice and content. Never looked back since the horns were done, so that's the beauty of it. It doesn't take a fidget, it doesn't cause them any stress whatsoever. And our dirty girl here has cleaned herself up an awful lot. There was a wee bit of a draft still coming on with that, so hence the reason we have a wee bit here, but nothing to encourage it to lay down on the ground anymore. So it's a lot cleaner, and has learnt his lesson, and now the job is sorted. So that's it, that's them. Now, one thing before I do end today's video is a question that I get asked so many times. It's by far the most asked question on my channel, and you'd never guess what it's actually about. Anytime I show a resemblance or something being done with it, it's always coming up. And the last time it was seen was when we were doing our first episode on the quad. And of course, it is our power washer. Believe it or not, between Instagram and Facebook and in the comments on YouTube, everybody asked me what type of power washer do I have and where did you get that snow foam gun? Here you go. There's my power washer. A TX12100. That TX12100 I bought about 10-12 years ago. I'd say it's even more actually. The years do fly on. And before that, I had the exact same power washer, exact same model, a mirror image of that one. And I actually traded in after about 9 or 10 years, not because there was anything wrong with it, it's just that I had done a lot of work and just traded in for a new one. So all in all, probably about 20 years I've had the two power washers and never once had to do a single thing to them. So all I can tell you about them, I bought it for around €600, in around €600. I think they're over €800 now. It's like everything else, everything's going up. But that is my power washer. Hopefully that'll cover it for you and answer that question, because there's just too many to answer back personally, and that might cover them all. Snow foam gun. Have this one, oh, I must have it 5 years, 4 or 5 years. It's a Nilfest, just like your Hoover company. I think I bought it for about €40, and the way I have it connected is it just fitted this quick connect on it. It's actually come with a plastic one, which aren't great. I got this one swapped out for a stainless steel one, and it's got an adjuster on here just simply for increasing the amount of foam and decreasing the amount of foam. Very, very simple thing. And you fill your detergent here on your bottle and screw it back up to it. And then you come to your lance. That's something a lot of people ask about. What way do you attach it to your lance? So the best thing I can tell you is take your lance to wherever you're buying your snow foam bottle. Take it with you, because there's so many different fittings and there's so many different lances. It's impossible for me to tell you what to actually get. So take your new lance, whatever it may be, away to wherever you're buying your bottle. Look, you can get these in all auto shops. Any proper machinery place probably will have it as well. And get one of these quick attach fitted. Some people fit them on up here. I think it's better here because you just push it forward, unhook your lance, get your foam bottle, and there you are. Very simple, not mad expensive. Flick it out, back on your lance, and away you go. I just thought I'd add it in there to the end of the video because I've never seen so many questions about power washers and snow foam lances. Another thing that was asked is what detergent do I use? No, while showing it, because every time I go to buy it, it's a different brand. I buy it in my co-op in 5-gallon drums. It's not even a decent one. To be honest, it's not that terribly good at all, but it's foam, and it does help to get the dirt off your tractors. You can go out and buy foams now that are touchless, contactless, whatever way you want to call it. It means you can spray it on and you're not supposed to really have to touch the machine at all. Whether that works or not, I don't know. You might need a hot power washer for that, but look at that works. And by the way, that power washer is in around 2200 psi. I think it's the biggest amount of pressure you can get on ordinary mains power without having to change your power supply. So I was told that anyway. I may be wrong, maybe right, I don't know, but that's what I was told when I was buying it. Anyway, that's it for today's video. Thanks very much for watching as always. If you haven't subbed, now is the time to do it. Give us a like, follow us on Instagram, Facebook and on TikTok. Until the next one, talk to you again.